that'll be that. He needs some support. And sometimes I've seen some games lately even where they went carriers. The Protons went carriers, and it forced the Terran to get a bunch of Goliaths, and then they didn't have any Vultures. And like 6 Zealots ran in and like killed all their tanks because they didn't have any Vultures on the ground at all. So that's something that C needs to be worried about as well, actually, in this. He's building a lot of Goliaths. He's got a couple Vultures, but he doesn't have too many of them. So he's got to be careful here. Anyway, we see him picking off a random Arbiter over there, and he's going to use the tanks to shell those eggs just to clear out more space, because at this point this is a really good map for carriers. Those carriers can hide all over the place. There's lots of ridges, lots of places blocked by eggs, so if C can clear out those eggs, he's going to have more places that it's going to be possible for him to push through with his Goliaths and attack those carriers. There's going to be less places that are going to be safe for the carriers to run to, basically. And here are the carriers coming in, attacking that northern base, just picking off those turrets right now. Not a ton of interceptors in them yet, but they are building up fairly quickly. Not a lot of anti-air there. It looks like he's bringing his Goliaths around the back. Around the bottom, he's bringing some Goliaths in the front, but it looks like he was bringing some of his Goliaths around the top. We'll see now what he's doing here. Yes, he has... No, never mind. I'm not sure where his Goliaths are at all. Never mind. Here they are running in to that expansion base. They went all the way around. For a moment, I thought he was going to bring his Goliaths all the way around the top and kind of cut off those carriers, trap them in his own base, which actually would have been a really clever move, except we do see some ground units chilling there as well to protect against maybe that happening, or to cover those carriers if necessary. You can see a little splotch of yellow on the minimap there. To the upper left of C's base that show some ground units there. And 3 more carriers joining the force. Okay, it's just a small force of Dragoons, actually. So if he'd moved out, he probably could have engaged those Dragoons with his Goliaths, brought a couple tanks along, and wiped them out, and really trapped those carriers, which would have been a really nice move. I thought he was going to do that, but he would have lost a lot at the same time that way. He would have had to wait for a lot of Goliaths to come out, and would have probably lost that top base of his. So it would have been risky. And here we see C actually moving out a little bit here. He may be trying to do a bit of a timing attack, sort of, but no, he's falling back down. There's a lot, and he's comp-setting the army. He knows what's in store now. Going into siege mode here. Good timing on the siege mode. He's got a lot of Goliaths there, but here come the Zealots. This is exactly what I was worried about. The Zealots coming in. He doesn't have any Vultures on the ground. The Goliaths are attacking the carriers, attacking the interceptors only, so the Zealots get in pretty close, but there was not a ton of Zealots there, and the tanks were enough to soften up. He has enough tanks that he was able to soften up the Zealots as they ran in here. He's got to be a little bit worried now, though, because he's running out of Goliaths. Those carriers really did a good job, and the Zealots actually ended up taking out a lot of the Goliaths. They didn't get in on the tanks as much because they took out the Goliaths, and the tanks were actually splashing the Goliaths because the Zealots were up in close there. And so now Stats knows he has an advantage. He knows he's out of Goliaths. He knows he can kind of attack 2 places at once. He's bringing in the carriers to attack this base again, and he has just got... There's nothing to stop him right now. These carriers are just going to be able to just destroy whatever he wants. Some Goliaths coming in there, just a few of them. And it looks like C is going to move out. C is going to put the pressure back on Stats. He knows he's not going to be able to hold that base very easily against these carriers, so he's moving out with his own force, trying to strike right back at Stats. And usually when you're in a base trade situation, it goes in the Terran's favor, but I don't think it's going to happen in this case because C is just doing a desperation counterattack. He doesn't have a ton of forces there, and he doesn't have anything to protect his tanks. He's got several tanks there, but only Goliaths to protect them. He doesn't really have a ton of Goliaths to protect against more carriers coming out, but Stats is being a little bit uncautious with the tanks. No, actually C has managed to get all the way into Stats' natural expansion, and Stats has killed C's third base, but now he's in trouble of his own, and Stats is just throwing away those carriers, though. Just was not paying attention to those carriers at all. Throws them away. He's going to lose his natural expansion. This could be an actual... well, it looks like Stats is not going to try and engage the main base of C right now. He's going to engage some Goliaths in the middle, though. He's going to be able to pick them off, but he's still not microing his carriers terribly well. So he takes some hits on his carriers there, but it doesn't matter. There weren't enough Goliaths there, and that might be what C's downfall is. He's only got a handful of Goliaths over here, 7 or 8 Goliaths. So once those carriers get back there, he's going to be able to clean this up pretty easily. Stats has the third base at the top left now. Look at that. Yeah, like 8 Goliaths or something like that. But Stats is just letting him walk all over his main base. He had some ground units there. I'm not sure what happened to his ground units. All he needed to do was pump out some zealots. Maybe he already threw away an attack on this group that I didn't see before, but now he's going in with his carriers. The carriers are probably going to save the day here. He's having to micro them. He's not doing terribly good at his micro. He's microing decently, I guess I would say, but he might lose some carriers there to those Goliaths, but no, there's just too few Goliaths. Like I was saying, just not enough Goliaths, so those carriers are going to wipe up the rest of those tanks as well. So, sort of a desperation counterattack by C. He lost his third base, but he didn't lose his whole base. So it did kind of accomplish that in that he was able to get stats to fall back. Oh, excuse me. But now all he has is Goliaths. He has not been making tanks really. He hasn't been able to make a bunch of tanks. He's been having to make all Goliaths because there's been so many carriers here, and he didn't really take the chance. He had sort of a timing attack opportunity when those carriers were still going up, and that was kind of silly. Of that SCV to turn and fight with not enough hit points to fight. C has gotten another base up, by the way, on the inside there, but it's only mineral only, I believe. I always forget if that one's mineral only or not. Anyway, look at this. Wow, Stats' main base is just destroyed. Some random vultures are just gonna walk right in and just start killing probes in his main base. But Stats may have the killing blow here. He's got zealots coming in close. Look at this, only 2 tanks. It's too bad there's not much Dragoons. There's some more Dragoons in the back. Dragoons are going to be able to do very, very well, but he can't really get in close to those two tanks. If he can pick off those 2 tanks with the carriers, he'll be in good shape. He's concentrating on the Goliaths. 2 more tanks coming in from behind him, more Goliaths to reinforce as well. And he's trying to just barely block with SCVs. Look at this single Dragoon running around chasing these 2 vultures, but he may lose that third base. Oh, he's moving in. Oh, single Dragoon left. Picks off the last tank. No more tanks left, so those Dragoons are going to be able to run in, but there's just a couple Dragoons left, so even the SCVs will just be fine doing that. More Goliaths coming in, but C's reinforcements are just getting skimpier and skimpier here. He's not able to reinforce with much, and all those carriers, tons of interceptors there. He's probably going to melt that command center. Yeah, look at that. 500, 200. Yeah, just really, really quickly goes down. And now it's burning. He's having to turn his... I don't know why he doesn't just finish off that command center. He better... Well, I guess he can finish off at any time. He's concentrating on Goliath in the meantime. Takes another set of hits at that command center. That command center's gone. So yeah, Goliaths are going to go down as well. This is not looking good at all for C. We might see GG from C any moment now. He is the kind of player to quit pretty quickly once he's been defeated. So I'm surprised he hasn't left yet, to be completely honest with you, because he does not have anything right now. I guess he's just betting on maybe Stats being worse off than he expects. But Stats has that another base in the top left there, and he's just doing very well with that. C has not been able to get up that top base, the 3 o'clock base. He's trying to sneak a base in the 12 o'clock position actually, but you know, he just does not have anything right now. And Stats has this huge group of carriers, huge group of carriers. And I don't think C can do much to stop it right now. He still looks pretty intent. He's still concentrating on this game. He's still trying to hold this off. And maybe he's hoping that Stats will make more mistakes with his carrier control and he'll be able to get some shots off. But no. C, GG's, and Stats will emerge as the number 1 spot, the top winner, the 2-0 winner of a very tough MSL group. You know, you've got players like C and Zero in this group. And, you know, he beat both of those guys, actually. The 2 guys that I would have thought would be the ones that advanced. C is not out yet, though. He's going to play the winner of the losers match for one last chance to advance here. And I'm going to go on to the losers match now. Great versus Zero. Should be fun. GG.